Okay, turns out my OBS streaming thing had to update. Let me do a sound check real quick. Test. Test. Turns out my OBS streaming thing had to update. Test. Let me do a sound check real quick. It's lagging. It's lagging. It's lagging. Test. 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 Okay, I think we're good. All right, so quick overview. We're doing self-storage and we're doing a multi-fund model, which that logic can be applied to a lot of stuff. But this is just specifically all the revenue and expense logic is going to be based on self-storage. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps. Also, if you want to support me, feel free to check out all the models. I've got over 100 here, and I'm updating them and adding more, all the time. All right, having said that, let's talk about where we've been. So we've got up to 6 funds here, and what I didn't get into much last week was how we're going to roll the funds, like how the automation is going to be between how you get into one, out of it, into the next one, and how does the owner cash flow look. We'll also have cash flows for the investors because each fund well, it's a fund, so it's going to be structured like a joint venture with a preferred return, hurdles, and profit share, as well as separate equity contribution rates if it's not pari passu. So last week we built essentially all the inputs for startup, date construction starts, how long that lasts, revenue. If you're developing and constructing a new self-storage property, you would fill inputs in here, or you could acquire an existing self-storage property or multiple and put those inputs here. Get a total acquisition cost, put in a reserve. You've got your total all-in equity needed. Not counting burn, obviously, this is just startup and building. It's not operations. We'll get to those assumptions later. You've got operating expenses, which are just based. So the easiest way I found to do this so that these deals can be analyzed pretty quickly is to do a cost per square foot per year, and then an annual percentage growth. So you can see that's going to flow into the monthly here in OpEx. It's taking that, the square footage times that rate, and since it's for the year, it's being divided by 12. So total square feet divided by 12 times assumptions D46, which is this what I just talked about, and then it's going to grow at 1% per year based on whenever it starts. And all that logic is done. We've also got sales and marketing, which I was reading up on. That can be specific. So if that's not included in here, then you would put it here as a percentage of gross revenue. If it is included in here, then you zero this out. Revenue and exit is pretty simple. It's kind of like multifamily. You got rentable units, you've got occupancy, um, occupancy, occupancy improvement if you want, stabilized occupancy, and average rent per month per unit, and then the growth in revenue per year. Then we have exit assumptions, which is a month the project is held for, the exit cap rate, and then based on net operating income, it's going to give you an exit value. You can have seller other fees, and then you get the net exit proceeds. So that's kind of where we're at now. And the plan is, and what I just realized, I've got a few things I was looking at for like 5 minutes before the stream, is we got to update a little bit of logic here. So what I'm going to do is the first thing, the months held here. So if I have Fund 1, the Fund 2 cannot start before Fund 1 ends. Because the idea is you're using the startup or the initial equity contributions of the startup and then operating um, profits hit, but you can't really go into the next one until you exit because the idea is you're going to use those proceeds to scale bigger. And the idea is to show yourself and plan out like what it looks like to scale as you get in and out of these. So just for the sake of doing this, I'm going to put, and let's see, we went 10 years. I think I did 10 years. So make sure. Yes. Okay. So over 10 years. So we can say like, let's just say 24 months at a time. Let's see, where does that put us? Um, let's see, and then we have to do the start of construction has to happen at the earliest 1 month after. So this actually doesn't need a data validation. So let's clear that out. So this actually happens, it'll be E-date, the exit month plus 1 month. So whatever this is, number one, and that is the start month of the next fund. Okay, and that brings us to, that's too far. Let's say construction only lasts 2 months on each of these. July 30th, 2033. Um, let's see, when's the last month we can do it for? December 31. So let's say, make these a little bit shorter, 20 months holding. That should be fine. 120 months, 10 years. And then we've got construction actually. Let's go, so 15 months. And you might not have 6 funds. You might have, plan to do this 2 or 3 times. If so, then these might be longer, but you might not have as many, which is also completely fine. I just want to make sure it works for all 6 if applicable. There we go. So this should be good. Ends March 30, 2031, which would be right here. So it's got plenty of time. Okay, so April, let's just look through the logic. We start construction April 2022. Let's put this at the first month. This lasts 2 months, so revenue starts in March. Here's all our assumptions for acquisition and operations over time. We hold for 15 months. We exit June 2023. And so then we should be starting July 2023 up here. Looks good. Hold for 2 months. Or I mean construction lasts for 2 months. You start revenue here. Where this goes, let me make sure. Yep. So this hold time starts when a revenue starts above. Okay. And I think we can extend this out a little bit. 17. Perfect. We end right on December 2031 if we hold each for 17 months. Okay. Okay, so we don't have any of these yet. I have to do now P&Ls for all 6 funds, but first let's show this, which we need to do cumulative cash flow. Now the automation is going to be very interesting for how I end up. I don't know how this is going to work, especially with the waterfall structure, but we're going to find out. Because this cash flow here in 26 is flowing to here. Well, contributions are from row 22. Oh, yeah, because that's any net burn. And then any proceeds are based on this, which just includes the exit. So that's fine. That shows here on a yearly basis. The trick is we have to annualize the monthly detail and map these cash flows because we want to go through all of this logic before we figure out what the owner gets, because which is also known as the sponsor. Because uh, the idea is you're going to do joint ventures, so this 750 is going to be split, and when you get cash back out of it, and as you get these flows, it's going to be based on the waterfall hurdles. Now I'm wondering, I could do a monthly waterfall, but I really like this annual view of, I like this one so much better. It's just really easy to digest and see. Um, okay, so honestly, it would be nice just to go like have the monthly detail be like one, cash flow one, and then go two, cash flow two, etc. I won't have to do as many reference updates, and it's kind of easy to digest on different tabs. I think that's probably a good idea. Uh, the problem is, so doing this on an annual basis, we don't know, like this exit month is on August 2023. We just know these are the cash flows for year two. So, trying to think of the best way. Let's see if we duplicate this. This is really the best logic. Well, all the assumption logic is pretty nice, it's clean, but the real um, value here is going to be in how this assumption or how this cash flow works. Let's copy this. So it's going to be 1A for annual, 10 years. So now we can kind of map this annual back to what's on the waterfall. And then, see, it's gonna, actually, we're probably gonna do this all in one tab because I need to know when Fund 2 starts, September 2023. I need to see that cash here. I can't wait until like year 3 starts. So the monthly is gonna drive everything. The annual will just roll up kind of what's happening on the monthly. I honestly, all right, let's just do this here. Sometimes it's better just to build it out and then see and then think. So I'm pretty sure this is going to have to be all on one, which is okay. I'll just put a grouping for each of these so you can group and only show the one you want to see and then easily group and ungroup. So that's and now all this should just be a simple sum ifs. Okay, so here's our annual. We don't need this. We don't need this. Don't need this. And we're going to see square foot's not relevant here. This is not relevant. This is not relevant. It's going to be real tricky how we're going to do this between 6 funds on the same timeline. All right, so we don't need any of that. Don't need this or this. What I'm doing right now is just annualizing the first P&L, and we're going to try to figure out how to structure this cash flow to map it to multiple funds. This is going to be, I probably should have done a monthly waterfall, but this is going to be, we're going to try and use this. Okay, Y16. Shoot. So this is up here. 2. 2 and 2. So we've got revenue, loss to vacancy, gross revenue. This isn't right. I forgot to lock these, but that's fine. I want these to stay locked because I'm probably going to be dragging this down to match the next 5 funds. So it'll save time in the future. I just forgot to lock these initially. Okay. Now I think I can keep going. Drag this down. So the trick is here we're going to be able to see the operating income. See, this is top and thick bottom. There's the exit. Here's the cash flow. So this now can map over here better. And we don't need it for contributions. We know the equity required is obviously contribution. And then everything else is just distribution. So what we're going to do, let's see how this looks. Let's just drag it in here. So investor P distributions owner GP distributions. So now we should be able to just go pop this in, go to the bottom, year 1, there's sponsor cash flow, and then investor. Now, we're also going to put, let's put up here, contributions. And this will always just be the first one here, and it'll be how do we want to do this? 9 times out of, no, I think actually it's always going to be the year 0. Whoops. That's the total. So we want just the LP. We want this here. Now, if there's negative cash flows from operations, which there really should not be, if there is for whatever reason, they will flow up to here in year one, and those negative amounts will be counted in additional contributions in this waterfall. So it's accounted for fine, just fine, if that happens. All right, and then just to check to make sure, so this plus this equals this. Hold on. Oh, this plus this, so this should be 0 equals that. Okay, so we've got a decent structure. I don't know if this is going to work going forward. We're going to find out here and check to this minus, and that should equal 0. Well, it should be, so we can just do, sometimes there's, Excel has some rounding, like to like the 10th decimal place for something. We're fine as long as these are double 0. Minus 22. Sanity checks are always good to make sure you're not messing with the wrong rows when you're summing up. So 30 and 31 should equal this and also this. Double zeros, all good. Now, oh man, I want this to be on an annual basis with the cash flow waterfall, but I don't think I can because now, okay, the owner comes up with 150, they get 2,500 year one, 160 for year two. And actually, they only got a 5% internal rate of return. These numbers are arbitrary though, as far as that. But how do I get this? And then this needs to show reflect somewhere so the owner can see, okay, here's my cash going out, here's this fund ending, here's my cash coming back in whatever month. And it has to be on the right timeline, as we're gonna have 6 of these going at one time. So I gotta figure this out. Now it'd be easy, honestly. I might just bring in a monthly waterfall model template. Well, hold on. So this is year one, two, and this is always the in line with the years of the actual fund, not the timeline of the entire model. So do I, in my matrix here, do I have the year each fund has started? Actually, I need like the life. I do not. So let's add this. I think this will solve it. It's almost like this is the key that connects the two things together. So we need to know the life of the funds, which we have the countdown going up here. So to get the year of the actual fund itself, we just do round up. This divided by 12. And we have the timeline of each fund. So we know year one is this here, but on the monthly, it could be somewhere else. All right, so how do we bring this back in? So cash flow, so owner cash flow. We're gonna have to assume month one is year zero, since we're on a continuous timeline. So if this equals the start month of the fund, then pull me over this. Just take this whole thing. And does that track? Let's make sure. So owner cash flow, we'll do owner. So this is saying I'm gonna start with self-storage. I'm gonna do a deal here. I need 750,000 to start it up. I'm gonna come up with 150. The investors are gonna come up with the other 600. Now, what happens if this moves over a month, let's say, or 2 months, let's say to March? And I know we gotta change this. So now what does this look like? So 0, 0. Okay, good. That's right. Now here's the most important part. Owner distributions based on the deal. Now this is hard. So we got to do, how do we connect these? I guess sum ifs cash flow 1 for the owner, right? Which is this. If the year on the waterfall equals the year on the matrix tab. And it can't be negative. We're not taking the initial investment in this, so we do max of this and 0. Sum 79. Okay, now what happens if we start dragging this over? Okay, so good. Here's the problem. So we're pulling in the annual amount in the right timeline on the overall model based on what's happening here. The problem is year 2, we have to find a way to separate that exit amount, which is not separated in here, and we can't just amortize it every month. That would make no sense. And on a monthly basis, we don't know how much of each month's going to which side. Dang it. Okay. So there's a solution here. What we have to do is take this and go assume this is going to be on a monthly basis instead of annual. and then it will work, but we're going to have to do some adjustments on a lot of stuff here. So now this is going to be month 1, month 2. And I don't see any other way. This is just going to have to be on a monthly basis. And there's no way around it. Okay, so good thing that all this logic is self-contained, so I can just drag it over, which is nice. So 120 months is obviously the max that anything could ever be. That's 188. And it's not hard if you wanted to extend it out longer. Just widen these out. And the logic's not very intensive as far as its burden on Excel to run it, so no one should have an issue with that. So now if this is on a monthly basis, we have to adjust all the rates by divided by 12. And now you get a little bit of a, because a monthly internal rate of return is always different than an annual, and you can't back into one. Like they're just never going to equal if you try to roll up. And that's correct logic. And the reason why is because if you get something in month 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up to 12, that's sooner than getting it all at the end of month 12, which is what is assumed with annual internal rate of return. So it's more granular. It's actually, if you annualize the monthly, if you do a hurdle of a monthly hurdle, the annual resulting IRR is going to be different than the basis. It's almost like APR versus APY with a bank, like the yield versus the rate. It's a little bit like that. So we now have to change these rates to monthly hurdles, but no one wants to do that. Like no one wants to say figure out the monthly hurdle. They want to say, okay, the annual rate is 10%, but if we put that into a monthly, what is it? And so now we have to divide all these by 12. So let's see. Where's the first check here? I think this is the only way to do this. And now these will be, we're not summing the monthly, we're actually just going to go equals, well, hang on. This, oh, it's doing the matrix. Okay, it's doing the matrix. Okay. So I think we want to sum operating income based on 4, row 4, matching the exact month. So let's change this. Where are we? 22, that's fine, but we want actually 4. And then same thing here, but we want matrix 4 as the reference instead of the year. We want the month. I'll make sure this works. Perfect. Okay. So, and why are we not starting till month? Oh, okay. So that is the lead time, or the, let's say we put this to like 4. You can see on here then there should be 4. Hold on. Year, why are we not starting till 3? So 17 should be July 2022. That's the start month of revenue. And we should be summing up. And so that should be summing up. Why is that going into month 3 still? It's doing here. I want to sum month 1 cash flows so that month 1 here is July. So how do we get this to come into July, which would be, in this case, this be over here. Let's go back to our assumption. So we start in March. To make it easier, let's just say we start in the first month, just so I can think about this in my head. We start in January. We do a 3-month lead time. Revenue starts in April. Oh, see, so April. So sum the cash flow and assume sum 26. Maybe I need to go from E. Let me go from E to DT. I don't know if that'll make a difference. E, DT, lock, E, DT. Nope. And then this has to be, no, we're not doing that. Oh dear. Why is this always why is this going to month 3 no matter what? That's what I can't figure out. 26 if 22. Well, first of all, that should be summing 26. Oh no, I know why. So this is any negative EBITDA. This includes the exit. So we're summing up enough all the cash flow, including the exit, if the matrix row 4 is equal to month 1, 2, 3, etc. And I'm getting this showing up in April, and I don't know why. I want this 1747, and I want it to show up. Let's say we started this first fund not in month 1. Let's say it started in May. Revenue didn't start till August. So we're still doing year 0 here. We're doing this by month. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8. I shouldn't have anything until 8. No, I shouldn't have anything, yeah, until August, but that should be 1 here. I'm in a logical debacle here. Let's clear all this out, and for that matter, this All right, we need to know the cash flow per month for Fund 1. It's going to be all of the cash flow here if this is greater than 0 and see, I wonder if it's because the ranges are different on here. Fund 4 equal to this. And let's see what we get. 3 again. I think here's why. This starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out. This is 2 out. Let's go 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Yep. So that's definitely an effect here. And I don't like that either. I'm going to go index. We're going to index. So I want the net cash flow if index this. Oh, that's not going to work either. We have to have it the same thing. So here's what I think. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Delete these two. Let's see if that makes sense. $17.47 is month 1. Oh, I think we figured it out, possibly. Let's drag this all the way over. Okay, 18 months. Month 18, does that make sense here? What's month 18? The exit happens, that's January 2024. So is that right on here? January 2024, yes it is. That's good to know. Okay, this looks good. I think we got it here. So we do 750 initial input for construction and all that, and then month 1 is always going to be the first month of revenue, no matter what. You know, it could be, let's say, 2 months after. That's fine. We still start. This is the same thing, but now it's going to be, yep, still 18 months. It's just on the cash flow. You've got July, exit month, December 2023. And yeah, that went up. Now, if I increase it to 4 months on the construction, revenue's not starting until September 2022, but all the cash flow cares about is month 1 happening here. And then this happens Feb 2024, which, yes, and that's 18. Okay, I think we did it. This is awesome. Now the trick is we got to convert this 10% to a monthly rate. So this, let's divide this by 12. Monthly. And this actually needs to be, this will be an XIRR calculation, I believe. Hold on a second. We gotta extend this out to DU. Okay, 0.8%. Now, if we did the XIRR, hold on a second. That converts the monthly to annual. Let's do, so here's your cash flows. Here's the dates. Oh, we don't have the dates up here. That's okay, hold on. All right, so year zero is always going to be, and we could do 6 different funds, so we can hard code this. So we know this is the first month. And here's where it gets a little tricky. Look at this. Month 1 is not going to be just 1 month after this. It's going to be however long it takes. So look, here is going to be revenue start month. And there we capture, hopefully that works. There we capture the XIRR. And I don't know because we're skipping periods there. Okay, so that's saying 8.8%. Man, I've been getting a lot of spam lately for texts. Okay, 8.8. So why is that not 10? It's close. Let's try and do, so if we do the rate conversion, let's see, what is it? I think it's like you take this, divided by 1 to the 12th. Nope. Minus 1. Nope. Let me pull up my other doc here real quick. Waterfall. There's a way to do this, I believe, to get it close. I don't think it's possible to be exactly, but let's see, what's the calculation here? So that's to turn a monthly rate to annual. What about an annual rate to monthly? Here we go. So preferred return due, which is just this. Okay, essentially this almost identical to just dividing it by 12. So I think, what if we just, yeah, okay, so the problem is there's a gap, potentially a gap between month 1 of construction and then this gap of like 4 months. Because that gap happens, our entire calculation does not work exactly. Because it's assuming this is one period and these are all monthly as far as how the preferred return calculation gets calculated. We can't be skipping months here. So good news, this XIRR does work. It's 10% using this rate divided by 12, and this is actually the more accurate version. You can see it's still 9.971, but it's close. If you did it by 12, you're at 10.4. So 10.4 versus 9971. Yes, it's more accurate doing it this way. The thing is that this is not, these aren't, there's potentially a gap here in months. And I can't really automate that. So we're going to have to assume the start year is just the start of revenue minus 1. whatever that might be. And now you're real close. Yeah, that's the number. Okay, I'm okay with that. Um, some people might even put the calculation into month one and not even have a year zero, but I think this is the most accurate way to do it. You've got your year zero. There's going to be some construction happening here, but then we're assuming these are the same months. Like these are 1 month apart for the purpose of internal rate of return calculation and just modeling it. Now, if you actually were doing this real calculation to actually figure out payments, you would have to do year zero, and then if there's like 4 months of no money, you do zero these out, and then start the cash flow whenever it starts over here, and then you'd still get an accurate number. You just can't skip months here because the calculation assumes there's even time between each of these columns. And again, if you're doing this for real, you wouldn't need to automate it because you'd be using actual numbers, so that's fine. And you could just put the dates in here and put the actuals, and that's fine. All the logic works still. For the purpose of the model, I'm doing it this way. I feel like that's completely acceptable. Let's update the rest of this. So this is XIRR. This is returns. Okay, so next one. So this is going to be D6 for this one. Which is fine. And then our check is going to be, let's see, we got a lock row 9. Perfect, 15%. And then we can do this again for this check. But where's our hurdle check? Oh, here it is, preferred return due. So this is going to be D7. Converted to annual to monthly. So this takes all the annual hurdles, puts it into a monthly rate for each of these here, here, and here. And then the check shows you that it matches the annual rate, or close to it. I'll put a note here, I guess. Note, since this is converting annual hurdles into a monthly rate, the total check IRR of the monthly cash flows will always be slightly different than the defined hurdle annual IRR hurdle rate. This is okay. That's just math. It's not possible because when you get stuff on a monthly basis, it's never going to be exactly the same as getting it on an annual basis. What else? Are we missing anything? So this, oh shoot, we got to do all these out to DU. So DU, DU, okay. Then we'll put in the contributions back at the top, and then I think we're going to be good to go, because now we can just easily transfer. this monthly onto the monthly detail in enough granularity that makes sense for planning and strategizing purposes. And I think it's cool that I'll have a monthly hurdle schedule that uses this format because I really like the format. Now when you see the final rate down here, this is the full all-in exit rates after going through all the hurdles and all the splits. I can just drag these down. And you can see the totals on the side here. Really like this format. So let's just look, does this make sense? Negative. This needs to also be an XIRR now since it's on a monthly. So we'll take this, go here, drag this down. This one, same months, but different cash flows for the sponsor. Be here. Okay. There's the multiples. Got to go to DU on these two. All right. 1.5. So you put out 600, you get back 910. Multiple 1.5 means you get all your money back plus 50% ROI. Based on the timing of these cash flows, you're getting a 32% internal rate of return for the investors, owner 13.6. Okay, now that we have this, let's go back to our monthly detail and see if we can do, so initial investment is fine, and then we'll do owner cash flow, most important number, which will be this plus this. Now, the question is, we need to pull, let's try, I think we might be able to use the index formula if, no, that won't work. We need to, this is month one. Maybe index this if match this matches this. I don't know if that's going to work. Let's find out. 17 September 2022. Is that the month? That is. Okay. I guess that works. And here you can kind of see that gap, the delay of cash flow from development to revenue. Okay, this is good. So we've got our monthly detail. The cash goes through the waterfall summary and then spits back out to here, this bottom part, and this is the actual contributions, distributions. And we'll just do that 5 more times. And then I think we just put some smart logic around in the owner's cash so they can see how much they actually need to do this and scale up. And I guess now so when they go to, well, we'll get to that in a second. Let's put the so that's the owner. Actually, I like that needs to say sponsor or the general partner, and this is same. And then this will be the investors, and we can do the same logic is just pick the other. And then let's do this here. Same thing, but now we want, how did I do this? Annual detail. Nine. Ah, so we want 8 for this one. Perfect. Okay, and then for this, we'll do the same formula, but we want now, we're not indexing 12, we're indexing, oh shoot, we're not indexing 12 either. We should be indexing 72 or 79 and 72. 72 for investors. And it has to be above 0. Wait, why? Oh, right, because matrix is 0 until it starts. So we can do, we still want to capture negative cash flow. So if matrix this equals 0, then 0. No, if it equals 1, then 0. Because the first month is always going to be initial cash flow. Wait, what? All right, less than or equal to 1. There we go. Perfect. And then this is same thing, but we'll take 72. All right, now we can see the split. So we know the monthly detail defines the project level results. And then that goes into the cash flow monthly here. And then that rolls, and we're not even going to worry about the annual detail right now. Delete that. Oh, shoot. Wait. Shoot. We got to find a different way to do the initial investment. Okay, so we need, oh, I guess it's pretty easy. We could do if this date equals the start date of this, then do the negative value or positive value or just whatever it is for, let's see, the sponsor year zero cash flows here. Otherwise, zero it out. And that should work just fine. Yep. So sponsors, owner, and that's 72. So whenever the start launch month hits, it's going to look at the cash flow here and take that, which is always going to be based on the assumptions for each fund. Now, if there's negative, hold on, we can copy this. If it's less than zero, potentially negative operations, that still works. We just put the negative in there. All right. Looking good. And then we just make sure this plus this minus the total cash flow should always equal 0 with 2 decimals. Oh, what's going on here? We're offset by a month. Hold on. So something's wrong with the logic. That's why we do these tests. So the exit month, we got the exit month down. And what's nice actually, because we did this conversion with the matrix and the cash flow, we can actually capture, well, no, it's going to still be based on this logic, assuming these are both 1 month apart. As far as the hurdles are concerned. Okay. So, let's think about this. Why are we off by 1 here? October, it needs to start in September. September's here. September 22, we've got a 1 there. Which, by the way, I don't think I need this anymore. I'll keep it here for now, but I don't think I'll need that. So it's with this. Why are we off by 1 here? But this is actually, but the cost line up. So equals to 1. Because I said it was less than or equal to 1. So let's see. How do we make this work? Because we don't want to pull. We don't want to pull this and actually be right here. We don't want to pull these two. So I guess say if it's less than 1. Does that work? Okay. And that's so it won't pull anything with 0. Now for this one we want it to be, Yeah, that's fine. This doesn't matter. It just needs to show up in that month. Okay, there we go. Always checking the logic, checking different scenarios, making sure it doesn't give an error. All right, so this is pretty good. So you can go along with the owner. They can see, okay, look here. We start here. I got 150. I start to get some cash back. Let's put this is a check. Let's do. So at the very top, I want to lock. Let's unfreeze this real quick. I want to put the full cash flows. So we can put sponsor cash flow because we want to see that on a continuous timeline, but we want to see each deal needs to show up on their own deal like this. And I still don't know a good way to do, if there's any better way I can do to show this gap between the month's cash goes out and the month revenue starts in case there's a 2 or 3 month gap. I don't really know. I don't think it's super material for modeling. Like it's going to give you a number, like the numbers are going to be very close to what they should be, unless you just hard code it all. I mean, this is probably where offset might come in handy, where August we know the cash goes out, and then this is month 1, 2, 3, 4, and this actually is the start month here. We might hold on. Let's see. So sum if this, if we offset F10 minus here, minus the gap or the time it takes. Let's see. So now we're starting month 5, January 2023. We need to be starting September. So that went too far. Because let's see, 5 minus 4 is 1. That makes sense. Oh, but now we can do the first month. Okay, hold on. And then this is 1 month. Okay, so we just gotta do minus this plus 1. I think we got it. Oh, I'm actually pumped. Nice. Okay, so now we can actually capture the monthly granularity there. I'm actually really pumped. So that makes sense. So now let's do our XIR check. Now it's even closer. The good thing is though, we get, oh no, actually that's going to be the same. The cool thing is we are now capturing that time delay. So if we went over the monthly cash flow to the sponsor cash flow and got this number here and did a IRR, oh, hold on. Hold on, I think we need to offset our key. Hold on, let's see. So this is too far. So our index needs to be this, and then we're offsetting it by +4 -1, I believe. And then if we go over, perfect. And that's September, yep. Okay. I'm really excited that that logic worked out. That's great. So 79, same thing, but 72. All right, I think we're in shape here, and we just got to do for each fund, we got to do the same thing. We're good to go. I want to make sure I get it right before I start on the other funds. So now, if you went to the owner's IRR here, you could get the same timing. Watch. So IRR, it's 0.73. If we go to the cash flow, sponsor, oh, hold on, 9. Ah, this is the monthly, 8.7. If we really converted it to an annual rate, it'd be like that. It'd be what, 1 plus the rate raised to 12, I think, minus 1. And yeah, so 9.13, and we're at 9 point, let's put another 0 in there, 9.10. So it's very close. It's going to be slightly different because we're converting monthly here to annual. Let me try an XIRR real quick. We're really close here. I mean, this is just, I'm nitpicking now, but I just want to show you that this actually makes a lot of sense. Timing always becomes a problem with like these things. Oh, what happened there? Oh, we got to start with that. This is just a test to make sure. Yeah, 9.1. That's exactly what it is. 9.10, and that's what we see here. 9.10 if we extended it out. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. All right. This is so cool. So we see our Fund 1. This is what happens in all of Fund 1. Thick bottom border here. So you come up with 150. You do some construction. You start collecting revenues. And you do an exit. Now you've got, and then based on the joint venture deal you did, you get 169 out of the deal. And that's all a function of whatever the hurdles are, what the percentage splits are, um, what the initial contributions are, all of that is, if we put this to 50-50, you might have a little bit more at the end, 191, but this is very cool. We've done monthly detail of the Fund 1. We've converted it into a joint venture monthly waterfall with annual hurdle rates all converted to monthly, so this is all correct here. And then the result of all of that logic is worked right back into the monthly detail on this timeline, which is super huge to do. Let me zoom in a little bit. So now we can see, okay, sponsor cash flow, Fund 1. Now how does this flow? Well, we've got Fund 1 here. We exit February. Now March 2024 should be, yep, March 2024 is the next one. So now we do the same logic, but knowing the fact that we now have a little bit of extra cash here. If we do cumulative cash flow, oh man, I'm excited about this. This is so worked out really good. I'm glad I was able to figure out that timing delay on the internal rate of return hurdles. So you end up with a net of, you start with 150, you end up with, wait, you end up with 47,000 above that, right? Because you put out 150, then you start making it back. Now you make back the full 150 plus 47. So in theory, you've added $47,000 to your money based on all this deal. Now, if you did no, let's say you did no LP and you just did this all yourself, you would zero all this out, which is fine, and you would then get all the cash flow and all of the exit, and you could see it here. You put out 750, start getting paid back. Exit happens here. You now make $341,000 on top of what you had. So this cash position is saying, okay, I have $0 in the bank. I now have minus 750. I'm getting paid back, fully paid back, and a profit. So you can then know, okay, I've got 341,000. Now let's go to fund two. And I'm gonna think about the best way to display all this. So this is fund one. Because we want to see like fund one, two. We want to see it cascade. Uh, let's copy this. I think I want this on a different tab. And we can always roll all the monthly results into an annual. The really hard part was figuring out how do we put these monthly results onto a proper distribution waterfall with its own timing assumptions, and then how do we put that back into the waterfall, the continuous timeline. And that is figured out. So this is cash flow all funds. So we don't need any of this. This is going to be equal to this. Honestly, we probably want to erase this topper. So this is going to be equal to here. And then this is this. Unfreeze everything. And it might be good to go out 15 years on this model, but I'll just 10 is kind of typical. So we'll leave it at that for now. And obviously you don't have to do all 6 funds. You could do 2 or 3 or just 1. Cumulative. All right, let's go back to adjust this. Let's say the LP comes with like 90. They go down to 80, 70, 50, and the equity is 90 as well. And let's make it a hard pref so the LP gets 100% of the cash flows until they get their money back. Oh, still pretty good internal rate of return for the sponsor. Almost the same. All right. So, man, this is an awesome model. This is so cool of a model. We can just do a thick bottom border. $75. Oh, wait a second. Where's all the cash flow? Monthly E34. Did I do the right one? Sponsor. Hold on. Yeah, that is the right one. Where are the distributions for 79? Cash flow 79. I know they get to that hurdle rate. Here. Ah, there it is. So month 26. Is that right? Just make sure everything's working. Feb 2024, and this is Feb 2024. This exit should be Feb 2024 as well. Yep, 18 months. And this here. Yes, okay, so that's all right. So this is saying in this case, the limited partner doesn't get their full return until the exit happens, and then we've got some cash flow for the sponsor. Again, these are arbitrary assumptions. I just want to make sure it works in different scenarios. All right, so 75 here, you get back your return here. Your cash position is going up by 31,000 net. So if you did, let me think about this. If you did a bank balance, let's think how this looks. Bank balance, because everyone understands that. Your bank balance, let's say you start with starting bank balance, some number. What did I use here? Let's say we started with $100,000. Change in cash flow ending bank balance for the period. And change would just be this, and then this would be this plus this. Not that column. And then the starting up here would just be start here. Now, so we go here, 75. And then here, so now you can see we actually had 31,000 more than we started with. But I think this is good to see, really see what is what. Any bank balance. And this is through Fund 1. We're going to do a cumulative on all 6 funds. So this is top and thick. Okay, so I started with 100,000 in the bank. I did this deal. I put in up 75. Held it for 18 months. Now I got back 106. So now my bank balance is 131. Let's go to Fund 2. So Fund 2, so we know we have 100. Now the question is Fund 2. So let's set up. Once I know I've got the logic right, I'll do the rest of the funds and then do the cash flows. I'm thinking about what's easiest here. We know this is Fund 1. I actually don't need this here. I guess you might want to see how much you've raised, or I guess it doesn't really matter. You can see it right here. Let's freeze this. All right. So I think the easiest way to move forward is fund. So this should be 1. This is 1. These we can use just the same. I just need to move everything over on the next fund amount. So 1, do I want to do the question is, do I want to do an annual summary for each of these? I guess I could, but for now, let's just get the monthlies done. That's the hardest thing. And if we want to do annual, we can just copy it, put in some sum ifs, and it's fine. So copy 1. Oh, create a copy of 1. It's going to be fund 2. And copy 2 for 3. copy 3 for 4, copy 4 for 5, and then we'll go to 6. And then we also got cash flow 1. And this is nice because you can structure each deal differently. So cash flow 1, this will be cash flow 2, and you can structure those percentages all however you want. And ideally, what you'll be able to do is look at this cash flow aggregate and look at the ending bank balance, and you just, if you can keep, see if we put it at 0, this is negative. If you can keep it positive after you end fund 1, then in theory, all you need is this 75,000 one time. So let's say we have 75,000 in the bank, right? All you need is 75, now you have 106. If you make your contribution into the next fund, 106 or less, you technically don't need to contribute any more money. You can just roll it through, but we'll get to all that logic in a bit. Copy this to 3. Four, 5. Oh, into 6. And this will sit in front of all that. Make this a little bit of a different color. All right, so now we just got to map it all. So here is 1 that's done. Let's go to 2. So 2, this reference is here. Assumptions D7. So everything in D is going to go to E. We'll do some naming too. We'll name these funds once we have this done, because you build name them. Where was I? 2. So everything in D goes to E here. Perfect. March 2024. Now, I guess you can if you want the start of the next one to start not in the first month, you can just hard code in the date here. Just make it the first day of whatever month. So, this is March 2024. It'd be 3/1/2024. If you don't want it to start till like May or June, you just put 6/1/2024, and it will all update fine. But I've just got this automated to work on 1 month after the previous fund is exited, the next one starts, just for convenience. You know what? I guess we could just say months until next fund starts. And I mean, if we let's just put 1 here for now. And it was not relevant for the first month. Dang, whatever. Do I care if that's like that? No, I guess that's fine. And then this will just be, instead of hard-coded 1, you can just make it whatever. Actually, we do need the first month. we won't need the last month. So if one ends this date, you say, if I want it to start in 2 months, then it goes to April. Now if we go to 2, you can see April is not till the start date. And we got to update all this. So this is E. This goes to E. E here. Now the matrix, I was doing E4. Now I want E5. Drag it over. This is not too bad of an update because I'm just doing references. I don't have to think, which is nice. Oh, okay, hold on. What did I mess up there? Ah, I knew I did something. So this is fine. If this is actually a counting one, so I gotta update this second column and then I can drag it after that. There we go. Unit count. This is the same. We do just drag it over one. So E matrix, go to E5 and E. $89.89, which should be this. Uh, 89 even actually, and then it goes. I think it's improving because it's been there for a year. 89, and then it'll go up from there. Continue on down here. Right, E for this. And this one is only held. How long are we holding this one for? 18 months. November 2025. Got it. What's going on, viewer? We're plugging away at this model, getting very close. I'm just essentially replicating logic at this point. Got all the logic built for multi-fund self-storage. It's very cool. This is going to be a cool tab with the cash flow of all the funds. You can see if you start with a certain amount of cash, do some joint venture deals, how you can grow that cash and not have to input any more money. It's kind of cool. Or was I? All right, so these are all adjusted to the next one. Yep. This needs to be moved. Now matrix E12 is going to go down to 13. Last week, in the video for last week, which you can see on the YouTube channel, it'll be up forever, shows me going through all these calculations and figuring out how to actually build the logic or what logic is required. So make sure that's 2. Okay, assumptions E. Assumptions E here and here. Oh, and I gotta go this way. Forgot to come over. Hopefully I didn't forget on these. Let's see. E66. E5, E5, E. All right, these all look good. Let's drag this all the way over. Looks good. Again, here we're just going making D's to E's. Very simple. The better structure you do, the simpler the calculations and logic or formulas become. This is E5, matrix 1. That's just a formula. Oh, this has got to be updated. Now it's pretty mundane now that you see how I'm going to connect it all, so I don't know if I'll do all this on stream, but you'll see, at least you can understand how I'm updating at least this one. Now why do I not see an exit here? E66. Oh, I know, because it's based on, I gotta keep going down here. That's fine, and then that we don't know. So now exit value, all of this stuff has to come. So drag this over. Now I want to go to tab 2. 4 million based on the net operating income. Wow, it's that much higher. Just starting at $1 more, a little bit of an occupancy increase. What is the net operating income here? At exit, 16,000. Oh, this is only 488. It's 401.89. So 36,000 versus 35. Ah, so overhead 13. Overhead here is super high. Did I get this or did I miss something? Let's make sure. Because this, so this is 23. Why is this only 12? E46. That shouldn't really matter. This is actually a little bit higher. Ah, I know why. Square footage. So this square footage is half, meaning the expenses are a lot less. Let's let's say, where did we put in square feet? So let's make this 160,000 square feet. Now, yeah, now it's the same. About the same exit, a million 34, almost exactly the same. Because all our other assumptions are the same. All right. Now if we go back, so the exits, oh, the exit's in here. What's going on with this one? Ah, these aren't going to be 0 until I finish the waterfall. Make sure, so this here, and then these will just be, so cash flow 1 will be cash flow 2. Matrix E4 will be E5. Cash flow 2. E5 here. Assumptions E8, cash flow 2. A lot of updates on that one. And then cash flow 2, and then we'll have to go over to cash flow and update that. So this is going to be E5, cash flow 2, 5, E, and cash flow 2. All right. That's all that. Let's drag it all over. And then go to cash flow 2. Update this to E42. Excuse me. This is now going to go from 1 to 2. 2, 2. Matrix is now from 4. It's going to go to 5. I think. Let me double check. 4, yeah, 5, 1, 2. Okay. Same thing here. We go 2, 2, 5. Oh, get our offsets all right. So you see May, and then we start in July. That matches. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on, because now I think we got to account for this down here as well. Possibly. Let me see. Actually, no, we shouldn't have to. So May is the month of. Why are we off here? Should be April. Because this needs to be E. There we go. So April is that, and then June is our revenue start. Perfect. That works. Let's put it to 3. Make sure that still works. Yep. Perfect. These are manually input. This is manually input. Make sure this is all referencing the right stuff still. I think this is all self-contained logic. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Why is this negative? Why is that negative? Let's say pari passu. Hold on, something's off. Something's off. I'm just gonna make this exit value a little bit higher just to let's put the exit cap. I just want to see a little bit of a bigger number. So for make this actually a little bit cheaper to run as well. Ooh, yeah, that increased a lot. Okay. You'll see on these when you reduce expenses a little bit and your revenue is the same, the exit cap, like that was almost a $1 million difference in 50 cents per square foot difference in cost, which is a lot, I guess. put maybe 3.8. All right. Anyway, we've got a problem here because this cash flow waterfall is working fine. So with the second one, we've got some negatives here, which is not what I expect. So what is wrong? What's wrong? That should be up until, yep, that seems fine. Is that negative? Yeah, so something is up. Is it a negative IRR? Let's put the acquisition cost down. Like this 0. There we go. Okay, perfect. So I think the problem was it actually never reached a positive internal rate of return with those return, like with that initial investment. Which if you did that, you'd see the same error. It just means you put in the resulting cash flows are less than the initial investment. Okay, now it looks good. Check here, 15, 20, 20. All right. That's it. So now let's go to, so let's see, what's the best way to do this? So we have cumulative cash flow. I guess we don't really need this if we're doing the bank balance. Let's see how this looks. So if we go sponsor fund 1, 2, 3, 4, and honestly, you could do this as the investor side of it instead of the sponsor side and just bring in, I'll show you in a second. So on 2 now, you just bring in these numbers. Did I update these? Oh, I didn't. So make sure I'm on the right tab. 2, so this is E. Oh wait, but this says cash flow 2, so that's right. E5, cash flow 2. It's got to be E. You could just bring in the LP cash flows instead of the GP. Okay, that looks good. Now, if we go over to this, so there's fund 1, here's fund 2, which we can just go right to our same timeline. And we got to keep the same timeline so we can do an aggregate like we're doing here. So that's just this number. And you can see how this rolls. So this fund ends, we waited a couple days, now we go invest in the next one, which based on all the assumption deals, it's only going to take 800,000, and based on how you structured this, um, you only need 10%, so that's 80, and you actually have 280,000 left. So you could go bigger, you could maybe contribute a little bit more, and if you do contribute more, that just means you might have a lower return, but you'll have higher, you can negotiate better hurdle split. So maybe it's 80-20, and then with 80-20, you're going to say LP gets only 85 here, 75, 65. So a little bit better for the sponsor, but the sponsor's also contributing a little bit higher percentage on the second fund. And now if we go over to it, you can see still positive. So here's what we're going to do. Okay, so starting bank balance, change in flow is going to be the sum of all of the fund activity. And I guess technically, if you don't want them to, if you want them to run like in conjunction with each other, you could put minus like you could put like -5 here and have this fund then start actually before this one ends. And I believe that's okay with the logic. Hold on. Is this, yeah, that makes sense. It's just, yeah, then you start a little bit. Here's the problem. You will start then before you actually get this exit proceeds. So you're going to have to come up with $160,000 here. So that's why it kind of makes sense just to run them concurrent. But if you want to front load, you know, some multiple investments, you can do that. And this cash flow will tell you if it's negative. That means you just need to, you're going to have some cash available until you get your exit from the first fund. Okay, so I think on the structure here, we're just going to do all the fund activity. Starting bank balance, the change in cash is going to be the effect of all that activity. Then any bank balances here. The lower the bank balance you keep essentially means you're using as much capital as you can. Here we could even use more. We've actually still got 117,000 left on the second fund start. And then you run it back, and you can see now when this exits, now you've got 600,000. So you started with 100, or you started with 75, got a nice exit here, entered a new fund, still got 100,000 left over, and then you get another really nice exit, 500,000 of those cash flows. And now you're up to here, and you started with 75. That waterfall logic is super useful, I think, and this is really nice to see if you're potentially looking at running these as a sponsor or an investor. So you could be on the other side of this and just pull. I think I'll probably do cash flow all funds for. Um, so this is for the GP. I think I'll do the same thing for the LP, so you can see both sides of it. And these monthly waterfalls are great. And the cool thing about these is, since you're doing them deal by deal, you can show each cash flow waterfall on its own timeline with what's, times 0. That's fine. With how it goes, and you don't have to like look at the monthly ones and like figure out what is what here, like switching between the tabs and the timing of it, like to find it. These will just show you automatically the right timing, which I think is very useful. All right. Well, I've fully mapped 1 to 2, so I'm going to do that same thing all the way to 6. I'm going to think of some cool visualizations, and I mean, that might be done here. This is fun. See, forgot to move this over to E. We might be done. Let's just double check all these. E, E. And usually I mean, you'd be able to tell easily if something was off because you could tell that the top part here would not match the bottom part. And then the check would be off. All right, I love this. This is probably going to be, hopefully I can label the template what's going to make it searchable, but this is definitely one of the most useful things I think I've done. So self-storage, actually the control tab, we didn't need much. I don't even know if we're going to need any other global assumptions, honestly. This just has the start year, and it's not even a fun one. This is just the start year of model. And then we'll put an index tab, some instructions. I like that I kept all the assumptions on one tab. Kind of run through each fund's assumptions on how they're going to acquire and build things and sell them off, how much it's going to cost to run them in the meantime. All great dynamic logic. Yep. So in my off time, I'm not going to put it on a stream because there's no point. But all I'm going to do is essentially go from 2. I'll do it for the next 4. Same exact logic, is just adjusting the references over. And then in here, I'm going to pull in the sponsor cash flows. I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to do it for investors as well. I think that's useful uh, as the investor side. Like if you want to invest in 6 of these types of deals, and you can put in what you expect the joint venture to look like on each one to show you what your contributions and distributions would look like accordingly. And if you were just going to be a part of an investor pool, you could always just put your percentage. So you'd put what you think the full investor pool is going to be and the full GP contributions. And then if you could say, well, if I'm going to do 10% of the investor contributions, then you could just multiply um, all these cash flows by 10%. And then everything else stays as it is. And that would work just fine. Just checking all these. 5, 2, 5. Looks good. Okay. All right. I am pumped. This is great. Hey viewers, what's going on? I'm about to be done. The model's great. Uh, so next week I'll probably show visualizations and finish up the formatting, then it'll be ready to go. All right, guys, take it easy.